so much of that comes, from my past of just growing up with not a lot of money.
Yeah.
And my parents were just very diligent about budgeting things and teaching me how to do that. And I learned so much from that. And then, in my previous life, like, my previous marriage and stuff like that, I was left with a mountain of debt.
Hi, and welcome to the Love How Deep podcast with Brian and Heather Mayer. Our purpose is to equip married couples like you with resources that rely on the transformative power of God's Word to strengthen your relationship.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode on Love How Deep. We're excited that you're listening, and hopefully you subscribe to everything and and are sharing this with your friends and family. Hopefully you're finding some good tools that you can use and things like that. So just to help you become a better person and for your marriage to be as strong as God wants it to be, right? Isn't that what it's about?
That's exactly what it's about. Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I find that when you and I do these things, I think it really just helps us. As we're talking through some things, we just kind of learn. And
I think it does. I'm just going to take a moment. I'm going to hit the pause button here because I'm distracted
by my collar.
No. By something on his shirt. I'm just going to take care of that right quick. All right. And now we're back on track.
She's always looking out for me.
I try. He says I'm momming him. Like, whatever. He didn't even know that was there. Okay. Right. Happy sneak peek into our world. All right, so today we're going to talk to you about money. Oh my gosh, like I love it. I love talking about, money because I feel like we have a good grasp on it, and hopefully we're going to give you some financial hacks. So these are some quick financial hacks for married couples.
Right. Yeah, we're not perfect with money, but I think that it is one of our strong suits. I feel like we've gotten a pretty good handle on it.
Yeah. And I think so much of that comes, from my past of just growing up with not a lot of money. And my parents were just very diligent about budgeting things and teaching me how to do that. And I learned so much from that. And then, in my previous life, like, my previous marriage and stuff like that, I was left with a mountain of debt. Thank you to all of that mess, but I was left with a mountain of debt. And so how am I going to survive off of what pennies I made, like literal pennies that I was making, and as a single woman at that point too. But when we were married, it was really bad. And then when I was single, it was really bad. And, we've together, we've had our moments of financial hardships and, where it's like, you came to me and you're like, babe, we have $80 left in the bank till payday in a few weeks. So
it's like a week away or whatever.
We're down to ramen noodles with us and our daughter. We're down to like eating the mac and cheese or something, like just canned chicken, like whatever, because we needed food.
Yeah.
But what he's saying is like, we're not having anything fancy tonight. Like it's going to be spaghetti every night kind of a thing. And that was okay. I mean, we knew that God was carrying us through.
That's right. Yeah. And one thing I will say too, you just kind of hit upon it. When we first met and we were dating, you wanted me to help you with your taxes, and we went to the library. We went to the little kitty table.
I think he thought it was a date. No, just kidding.
I think it was because our daughter was with us, and she was picking out some books or whatever, and I was helping you with taxes.
Kind of kept her busy and all of that, entertained.
Yeah.
So you saw how little I made.
Right, I saw how little you made, and then that really said to me, wow, like somehow, some way she's really figuring this out. Obviously it was God, but at the same time, I think it was you too.
I had to learn how to budget.
Just figuring out how to take care of it. And a lot of that probably did come from your childhood, and
I think so.
Your parents and your family didn't have a whole lot.
Yeah.
And so, but y'all all seemed to figure it out. So
thanks, Mom and Dad.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
You taught me all about budgeting and it's stuck. It's stuck. And so, but sometimes when the budget is tight, like you need to figure out some financial hacks, and you're so used to maybe living a certain way or getting that Starbucks every day, or eating out all of the time. Like you're so used to that. That is your habit. Yeah. We totally get that. We totally understand that. But sometimes we have to know how to cut back, and maybe this will kind of spark some things in your mind. Like, I could cut back that one thing. I could try that one thing and see if that really helps kind of get us over that hump,
Yeah,
So
definitely.
that's what we're here to talk about today.
So yeah, it's really just going to be kind of a laundry list of tips, and hopefully some of these, some of these you probably heard of, maybe some you've tried, maybe some you haven't. So, take what you will from this list and try to implement some of these things. I think it'll be very helpful to you. And I guess we can start off with the first one would be, doing some meal planning, meal prep. This is not something that we've been real great at, but we keep talking about it. And
we do talk about it all the time.
Yeah.
And then it doesn't happen. And so what do we do?
Yeah.
When we don't meal plan, what happens to us?
Right. Then you have this potential to like, oh, let's go out tonight. Or maybe you're at work and it's lunchtime and you're like, I didn't bring anything. So I'm just going to go out to eat or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier to do those types of things if you don't plan ahead.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important. Really, after this episode, I would love for you and I to do a little bit more of this, where maybe Sunday sounds like the appropriate day to really, let's plan out the week. Right. What are the meals we want to have? What are the ingredients we need? And then, potentially we can start to put some things together, do some cutting and, bring some things together and,
but to at least plan out what your meals are going to be for the week and then make that grocery list of the foods that you need to buy. That's going to help you stay on track budget wise because you've got all the food in the house versus going out to eat where you spend a lot more or doing like we've done for the last 10 years. I'm telling on us 10 years that it's like, I'll go and buy something to make one dish and then that's gone. And then it's like, oh, he'll text me, do you need me to run to the grocery store to pick up something? And so he comes home with a box of crackers, chicken salad, a little cheese tray. It's kind of like we have a little bougie charcuterie, and some blueberries. I mean, we're getting some healthy stuff in there too. Or we just eat a salad, but it's like that last minute, grab and go, grab and go, grab and go. Where if he and I actually planned a meal, all right, we're going to make spaghetti. We make a massive pot of spaghetti. It's going to last 2 meals, maybe 3 meals, leftovers for lunch, all that stuff. Your kids can get involved in this too. And I love that my sister recently told me that when she meal plans, because she realized they were eating out way too much. So they started meal planning. She got the kids involved. She got 3 kids at home. And so and a husband, she looks at him, she's like, what do you want for dinner? Spaghetti, done. What do you want for dinner? Chicken tacos, done. And then the 3 kids and the husband all come up with a meal, and then she'll come up with 1 or 2 more, and they still eat out, but they're saving money because they're eating at home, and she's getting the kids involved. And so then they like the food, and then they're like, oh, what time's dinner? I'm going to come in and help chop vegetables or whatever. I think it's great. And I would love to hear if they'll try that, get the family involved in that and save money that way. And like I said, leftovers, pack them up for the kids. You want leftover spaghetti? Here you go, but not eating out every meal. That's kind of,
it's good stuff.
Kind of a big deal. Yeah.
And we probably beat this one to death, and we got plenty more that we're going to do.
I think we did. I just think it's a good one, and it's one that we're finally jumping back into because our meals of our little charcuterie has just been we're done. We're tired of it. Don't show me a piece of cheese. I don't want it. So we are meal planning in a much better way. So, all right. Another tip is maybe sometimes you need to shop at a secondhand store.
Yeah.
Case in point, we moved from Florida to Virginia. And the winters in Florida, 70 degrees, balmy, lovely. You're wearing short sleeves. And, I remember swimming on Christmas Day growing up one year. Yeah. Now we're in Virginia. Welcome to Virginia, where you're going to get snowed in for days.
Although that's
not
changed
recently, but the year we moved here, we froze, not one jacket in or warm, heavy coat, no gloves, no scarf, nothing. We froze, and all we knew was sunny Florida. So, to go and buy that much clothing for the 3 of us, that's a lot. Even if we're shopping at the inexpensive box stores, it's still a lot.
Yeah.
So we went to Goodwill.
Yeah,
we stocked up on things at Goodwill, didn't we?
Yeah, I was shocked that you can actually find some things that are new that have never been worn that still have the tags on them or very lightly used. I I always kind of had something against doing that. And
Right.
when I went in
Somebody
there
else
and
is
actually
warm
really
this,
said, you
like-
know what, let me really kind of do my due diligence and check this
Yeah.
out, I was actually pretty pleasantly surprised.
I know. It really
Yeah.
was surprising because I never thought that I would do that.
Mhm.
I know we sound kind of snobby, but we broke down like we did it because we were frozen. We were little popsicles,
Mhm.
and all of us needed sweaters. Is really what we needed. Were some good
Yeah.
sweaters and things like that. And so that's just I guess a hack there is to maybe go secondhand and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Another thing is that maybe you need some new things for your house and you can shop at a secondhand store for that. Maybe put a little coat of paint on it. Maybe what you have could last a little longer if you bought new covers for those throw pillows, because covers are a whole lot less expensive on that online shopping thing that we all love. Starts with an A. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like you can buy all those and recover your pillows for decorative purposes versus buying whole new ones and paying that price. Or you could maybe fix up the furniture that you do have, the things that you do have in your house that maybe need a little, get the little stain pens out or scrub a few things or whatever, just some other ways
Yeah.
to save money until you actually have the money to make some big purchase items like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, secondhand stores, and
Mhm.
we've done a lot of shopping at secondhand stores for furniture,
Right.
and we've taken
Just
what
takes
we
a little
bought.
elbow grease.
It does. It does. Sand it down, repaint it, restain it, put new knobs on that thing, and it's like it's custom then because you just changed out the knobs. It's
That's right.
custom.
Yeah, and
I
there's
love
probably-
that.
Yeah, there's all kinds of YouTube videos that
Oh
you
my
can
gosh.
find, and
Yes.
how do I, renovate this piece of furniture and bring
Yes.
it back to life? And
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, lots
Yeah.
of great things there. So,
My favorite is taking the old barn door
Mhm.
that we found at an antique store,
Mm,
painting and scrubbing and cleaning and
Yeah.
turning it sideways. It became the headboard of the guest room.
mhm, yeah,
But one of the other things I wanted to mention that you could, it's not really second. I mean, I don't know if it goes with secondhand store or whatever, but when we built our house, I no longer wanted the Tuscany vibe of, y'all know what I'm talking about, the reds and the golds and the deep, heavy everything. I wanted the light, bright, and airy, like French country. I love farmhouse. I wanted
Mhm.
blues and ivories and all those lovely things, and which I have, except that I would have to throw out everything that I own and go purchase all new everything. And I was like, the tightwad inside of me was crying. And so I got out the craft paint and I took my big gigantic candlesticks and I took not mirrors, picture frames and everything. I even took canisters that our coffee is in and I decoratively painted these things and sanded and painted some more and changed color. So I saved all that money because I've had these things for years. The style was still trendy, but the color was not.
mhm,
Simple hacks.
Yeah.
YouTube videos, they'll teach you how to do it. I love it.
yep. And
Yeah.
that's not my thing, but it's your thing, and that's awesome. So our next hack, we won't spend a lot of time on this because it's quite similar to really the first one, but it kind of involves being better with food and eating out. But I mean, coffee at home, that's probably a big one because I mean, now at the time we're recording this episode, I mean, you could probably spend $6 for a cup of coffee, and sit, treat yourself every once in a while.
Yeah,
Yes. So
sure.
we're not telling you like don't do any of these things, but what we're saying is, if you're doing that, 5 times a week times 4 times or 4 weeks a month, I mean, you're looking
I don't
at,
want to add that up.
I think you're looking at $120 a month. And you think about that might be your
Coffee.
electric bill or maybe your
That's so
cable
true.
bill. I don't know.
Such
So,
a good point.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
think
true.
the key there is maybe, if you don't want to completely stop doing that, just maybe it's once a week or maybe it's once every couple of weeks,
Right. And drink your
Just need to
coffee
back
at
off.
home or, even we have one of those like little espresso machine things. And so
Mhm.
we'll use that sometimes and make our own little, like what do you call them, latte or, fancy fruity,
Yeah.
something at home. You can do those at home as well. But, just think about that and how much money you're spending when you do eat out and when you visit places like that make the fancy bougie coffees.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. And your wallet will thank you,
yeah.
your stomach and your your body will thank you as well. So
Yeah, there's a lot of junk in those things,
Yeah.
but they are tasty.
Yep. All right.
Yeah.
The next one's going to be an interesting one. You want to?
This is a big one. This tithing.
Yeah.
I was going to try to intro it some cool way, but I got nothing.
And you're probably like, wait,
Tithing.
financial hack?
Financial hacks.
That's a way to
Yes.
save money? Well,
Yes.
we'll talk about it.
Yes, because like when we were talking about in the beginning of this episode, how I was literally making pennies during one of those times when I was just making pennies, and I was a single woman when I was diagnosed with cancer and I couldn't work. People would give me money to help me. I had no insurance. Like there was not like there's no disability at my job. Like there was nothing. Nothing. And how was I going to pay for all this stuff? And how was I going to survive? And how was I going to live in my house? By the way, I was still paying all of the bills left over from my previous life. So just imagine the stress. So but I continued to tithe. Like my,
we should explain what is the tithe.
Yeah,
And who
so
does it
it's-
go to? I mean, in case
That's
somebody
true.
doesn't know what
That's
this
true.
is.
So what you're doing, like the Bible says that you need to give the first fruit of your, I'm going to mess it up, offerings to the Lord. I totally messed that up. My gosh, so like what I'm talking about. I will confess, I'm terrible at memory things. I just, my brain, yeah. Okay.
Perfect.
But bring the fold. He's got it on the sheet of paper. I just found it.
Yeah.
It's awesome.
So if she looks down, that's
what I'm doing. I'm looking at notes, y'all, that I can
Yeah.
hardly read because whatever. Okay, back on track. Bring the full tithe into the storehouse, that there may be food in my house, and thereby put me to the test, says the Lord of hosts. If I will not open the windows of heaven for you and pour down for you a blessing until there is no more need. And so I love a couple of things about that verse. It says the full tithe, which tithe means a tenth of whatever it is. So to the storehouse, because back then it might be your chickens that lay eggs. That might be that's your livelihood right there. Maybe you're selling eggs and you bring that to the storehouse. Maybe your animals, your grains, whatever it is, you're bringing that tenth to God. And he says he's going to take care of you. And he also says, test me in this. Does it say anywhere else in the Bible to test God? Like, I mean, we all question him sometimes. I'll be honest, like I have many times, but he says right there to test him. He's saying, just do it and see if I don't take care of you, because that's the God I am. And he says, I'm going to open the windows from heaven for you. Now that doesn't mean that he's going to give you that, Corvette that you want. That's not what he's saying. He says he's going to take care of you. He might just give you what you need to fix the current car you have. That's what all of that means.
Yeah.
But he says to test him, and he says to also, each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. So you might think, fine, you might have a grumbly heart of like, whatever God says, fine, I'll do it. But he wants a cheerful giver. He doesn't want someone sitting back saying, fine, I'm doing it because you said I had to. Like, that's the child inside of us. You know that when you were told to stand in the corner, when you were a kid, you're like, well, in my mind, I'm standing. Okay, right? God doesn't want you to be that kind of a giver. He wants you to give cheerfully and just say, God, I'm bringing this to you because your word says to, and your word says you're going to take care of me. I trust you, God. I trust you. And I have the cheerful heart about you. Like, God's going to see that and he's going to take care of you. And to go back to like my story, like he took care of me. So anytime a check would come in the mail from sweet, loving friends, like just because they knew what my situation was, I tithed on that. I had a family, the parents of a student that I was teaching, they just, it was laid on their heart to just send me $100 a month. And they did. So I would open the mail and see that check and just cry and just thank God for it. And then I would cash it. And then $10 was going to my church. because, and it wasn't like, I was not the one earning that money, but that was my income. And so I truly felt like that's what I needed to do. And so anytime anything was blessed to me financially, I was tithing off of that. And I truly, truly believe that is what carried me through, because during that time, I was never in need. I was never in want. Like, during that time, I was on food stamps. I had, I can't remember the government agency that paid a couple of my bills. They take care of water bills and stuff. What is that agency? I don't know. It's my brain, I'm telling you. Anyway, several bills are paid. My church is calling me to say someone has anonymously asked to pay your XYZ bill. Could you bring it in? I'm like, oh my gosh, like, which broke my heart because I wanted to say thank you, but it's fine. But there were so many ways that God came through, and I'm not going to sit over here and say none of that would have happened if I hadn't tithed off of that $100 that somebody sent to me. I'm not going to say that, but I don't want to test God in that way. I'm just going to do what He says and let the heavens open up. And I just believe the windows of heaven opened up for me. I just urge you to do it, to try it. Sorry, it's one of my soapboxes.
Yeah, right. And
Okay.
I think too, we had a pastor that said to us, would you rather have 100% of your money cursed or 90% of your money blessed? And so I was like, that makes sense,
Totally
but again, even though it is a commandment, God does want us to do it kind of just cheerfully and because we want to. And so, we would say for you, if you're in this kind of grumbly mode of like, I'm not doing that or whatever, just continue to pray about it and ask God to maybe soften your heart. I agree. So anyway, I know we could probably go on and on about that one, but it's very important.
I know. I think that might be another episode that we've probably already done. I have no idea. So that's take two.
So
What else
another thing that you can do is go to the library. Books. There's also videos. I'll never forget several years ago, we just had this idea of let's see what kind of videos they have. And we found this movie. It's not Christian, but it was called Mad Money. And it was with Queen Latifah and Katie Holmes. And
That's a cute
it was a cute movie and kind of funny and pretty well put together, well acted. And it was like, wow, we kind of hit upon one that seemed to be pretty interesting to us. So there's not only just books, but there's videos. I'm trying to think of there's probably other things that, they have a lot of services and a lot of different things you can do. You can get on the computer there if you need to, which.
That's true. And what I like about that is, you're saving money because you're not buying the books. And once upon a time, our library had a magazine app. So you didn't even have to buy magazines. You could just go on there and see them. And so we were excited because we were getting ready to get on a plane.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. And so we had magazines to look through. So you're not paying for a subscription. You're not paying for the books by the authors that you love, and you can also download a library app and you can check out books. And so I'm reading books all the time on the it's called Libby app for my library, and all the time, and it's free. So it is another just really kind of a hack to save some money, because I do like to read. And so if you're one of those out there, you like to read, or maybe you want to see what kind of movies are in the library, or you like movies, you want to see what's in the library there for that. Things for your kids too. That's right there in the community, right there for you.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool. It could even be a little date.
Everybody go to the library.
You
You
have to, be quiet. We're not there to, make a lot of noise. But anyway.
Yeah.
So
you can also do a cash envelope system.
That's another hack.
That's another hack. So that you are saving money that way because you know where your money's going. And you run that card. Y'all know this is true. You run that card. You don't really have a good track of what you spend. When you were writing checks before we had all this credit card stuff, we're writing checks and we're using cash. You're entering it into your little checkbook thing. I don't even know if they make those anymore. You knew what you had. You knew because you had to stay on top of those things. And now it's just so easy. You're like, just tap it or whatever it is, We don't really keep track of it as well as we used to. I've known so many people who agree that we just don't keep track the way that we used to. And so if you want to get back into that as part of a budgeting or something, you can do an envelope method that this is how much we're going to spend for eating out this month. And if you spend it all within 2 weeks, then the other 2 weeks, you're not eating out, right? This is how much we have for fun to go, I don't know, spend. I want to go shopping for clothes. Like I just do. And so this is how much I have. It's in my envelope. And so I know, and when that runs out, it's gone, and every month you just replenish it. What else could you put in the envelope method to kind of keep track? Maybe your Starbucks money is in there too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Almost just about anything you can think
Anything.
of. I mean, you could even, if you're just really terrible with money, I mean, you could literally take your entire paycheck and put it in an envelope and then kind of like, okay, here's my electric and here's and obviously you can't pay your electric bill with cash, but maybe when it's due, you could convert it back. And that's probably a lot of work, but
Yeah.
I would say really only need to do that if you're really bad with money and you've noticed like every month I get to the end of the month and all of a sudden I can't pay my electric bill or whatever. So
Right.
you can be as
That's fair.
creative with it as you want and do as many
Yeah.
things as you want with it.
But I definitely think that you need to know like how much money you have available to you, and the envelope method of kind of that free money of like free money that has like, it doesn't need to go to a bill or whatever. You want to make sure that you don't overspend. That's a really good way to do that.
There is research that says that when you use a card, you do tend to spend a little bit more because, again, it is more like, you go to McDonald's or wherever and, I'll upsize or, I'll do that. But, if you're pulling that cash out, you're a little bit less likely to be like, yeah, sure, I'll
That's
take
true.
that or, that
That's
kind of
true.
thing. So
You just know it helps you it helps you a lot when you can be a better planner, and that's one way to plan for that. And if you really struggle financially, there's a lot of organizations out there like Financial Peace, Dave Ramsey, lots of books, lots of programs that can help you create a budget. I know that's a bad word to everybody. They're like, well, I don't want to be on a budget.
Yeah.
But sometimes we just need to be. So.
That's true. Now, this next one, I'm almost hesitating to say this one because I feel like it kind of flies in the face of what we just talked about. So we're going to talk about this real briefly and then we'll move on. But credit cards have like a cash back reward system. And again, if any reason that you feel like this is not going to work for me, it's just going to cause me problems and I'm going to spend more, then it's not worth it. But if you can be very diligent and simply use the card for exactly what you need and don't go overboard and don't upsize the meal, that kind of thing, then, getting 1% back or 2% back, could be helpful. We do it and, typically what we do is we'll use it for a hotel or a rental car or something if we're traveling at Christmas time or whatever. But again, kind of hesitate to really push this one too much.
I know.
Because, and Dave Ramsey, as you just mentioned him, he is like, do not do this. Number 8 is all about just getting an insurance checkup. Just like, okay, let's look at our homeowner's insurance. Let's look at for example, our homeowner's insurance actually just went up like $300 or $400 a year. I haven't had a chance to like look at it.
What?
I'm assuming it's not a problem. I think it just happened, but the issue there is we really probably need to like, okay, let's shop around. Let's figure this out.
That is true.
That's kind of what the point
So
of that
you're talking
one
about
is.
shopping around.
Shopping around.
Yeah.
And,
I gotcha.
car insurance,
Yes.
homeowners insurance.
Yes.
Things are real competitive now when it comes to that. Even health insurance. If you have it through your employer, then obviously you're kind of limited. But for me, I'm a self-employed, so I have a lot of opportunity to shop around. So and you can save a lot of money.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's okay.
And it's not all about money. You have to obviously make sure, what kind of coverage am I getting? What's the deductible? That kind of thing. So if something does happen, how much am I going to have to pay out for this? So you got to kind of weigh that one out. But, it doesn't hurt to check around and shop around for that because those can be some pretty big expenses for sure.
Yeah.
The next one.
I think that everyone should do automatic transfers to high yield savings account.
Right.
I don't even know what it's.
Yeah.
Go for it.
Basically, that's where, if your paycheck, you put it into your checking account. I believe banks can set it up to where like you can have 1%. And we have a money market, like a savings account. I believe we could automatically have, 1% of that or 2% of that kind of automatically moved over to the savings. It's similar to like the 401k retirement where you have the company take some money and it just kind of automatically goes out. You don't even really see it.
Is it making some money for me?
Yeah.
I go shopping? Okay.
No, the point of a savings account really would be like
yeah. These are hacks so that I'm not shopping. Yes, I got you.
Right.
Yes.
She's getting it.
I know I'm being really kind of silly because I'm tired. I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm hungry.
Okay. Well, we'll do something very quickly after we're done with this episode. So we've only got a couple more to go. You want to do the next one? Take a day or a weekend.
Go for it.
And
Wait a minute to introduce
she's
it.
really just,
Yeah. I feel like my brain is shutting down.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So
I need to eat.
probably just like the people that are watching this, they're about ready to go click. So no, planning a no spend day or maybe a weekend where you don't spend any money. It's like, you know what, this weekend's going to be all about, we're going to find fun things to do around the house. We're going to maybe get out and go for walks or.
I like it. Play a game together, watch movies together, pop that popcorn.
Yeah.
And we're not,
and you could maybe make a game out of it. Like, hey, did you, have you spent any money today? No, I haven't. Okay, good. I haven't either. So
maybe the whole family gets involved and they all kind of come to the table with like a game that you want to play or something that you want to do. And if your little one says, I want to play hide and go seek. Well, let's go play hide and go seek.
Yeah.
Just whatever it is. But get the family involved in something like that.
Could be that.
I like that.
Yeah.
And then
the
last
one,
trade services.
Yeah. So
I'm going to guess. Can I guess?
Yeah.
Can I guess? Okay. So if I'm good at, I don't know, doing something and
plumbing.
they're good. If I'm good at plumbing and they're good at yard work, then we trade services.
Right.
Is that what you mean by that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll go rake your leaves if you'll, install I don't know, soft water system or whatever. Maybe that's not an equal trade. I don't know, but you get the idea. Or maybe it could be, I'll rake your leaves if you watch, our child for the evening.
Maybe you watch each other's children and trade off that way as well. I think that's a really cool way to do it.
Mm-hmm.
If you have friends whose children are about the same age, you can trade off, and then you and your spouse can go on a date because you got to date your spouse.
That's right. That's right. So,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, hopefully, you withstood the silliness and the craziness that we sometimes have, but, really the point of this again, I mean, money's important. It's part of life and it's a big deal. And so, we need to, again, be great stewards of it. I mean, that's what God calls us to do. It's really, we're just managing his money. He owns it all, right? I mean,
right.
Yeah.
Yep. He owns a cattle on 1,000 hills.
That's right.
Maybe he'll sell one for you.
Right.
That's like the Heather version.
Right. Yeah. The gospel according to Heather. So.
I used to say that when I was broke. Like, well, God. So I have digressed.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap up, but, make sure you subscribe to this podcast if you're hearing it on audio, Apple and some of the other platforms. We've also got a YouTube channel where if you're watching this on video, please hit that subscribe button.
Yes.
Ring that bell that's there. That way you get to stay up to date with all the content, everything that we have. And then finally, we have a free resource.
Yes.
It's really a great guide on creating some financial goals.
I love it.
Yeah, we call it Goal Setting 301 because we've got a 101, 201, 301, 401.
Yeah.
301 is all about finances.
The finances, yeah. Because you've got to have goals for your finances. If you know that you need to fix some things or maybe you want to make some big purchases, you need to set that as a goal so that you don't just go do it now and charge it on the card. We don't want you to do that. But you set it as a goal. You say, you know what, within 1 year, we're going to go ahead and replace that couch and chair, coffee table, whatever. This is approximately how much it's going to cost. And then you start socking some money away, stick it in that envelope. There's an envelope right there for you, or, whatever that and just save that money so that when the time comes, you're ready to do it. You've got the money to back that up. So this
that's-
financial goal thing, I think, is it's going to be a cool tool that you could use.
And we'll make sure that we put links to
Yes.
subscriptions and also this free resource. It will be wherever you see or listen to this podcast. And I think with that, I think it's time to go get some food, but we're going to be careful and we're not going to spend a whole lot of money on the food.
No.
So well, take care until next time.
Drinking hot water with a ketchup packet, call it tomato soup.
No.
Sorry. Okay, we're done.
All
We're
right.
done.
Take
We're done.
care.